Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits, so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first snap of 11 of the season.
Nerds roll.
Lord have mercy. Okay.
I am a super nerd.
Oh, my glasses are broken.
I am a super nerd.
My pocket is infected.
I am a super nerd.
Excelsior. Excelsior!
Nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy.
My name is Andy, and I am a super
am a former entertainment journalist.
TBJ.
Hi, this is Tiffany. You may hear me be referred to as TBJ.
TBJ, y'all.
I am what I like to call a surprise nerd.
Art Star.
My name is Art Star, aka Dark Star.
He's the nerd Gotham City deserves.
And yours truly, you can call me Joe.
Y'all, really?
Yeah.
Who would I rather date?
Ben
Sure.
Affleck Batman or Michael Keaton Batman?
You said which ones?
Michael Keaton. I heard Michael Keaton.
Michael
What was the
Keaton.
first one? Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck, Batfleck.
No, not Ben
Robert
Affleck.
Pattinson.
Did we ever talk about who would be the Black Batman?
I think maybe we did, like, way back when.
There was actually a character for a while, I don't know if he's still around, named Batwing. They sort of introduced in the New 52. That was basically a black Batman.
Batwing?
I'm here for it.
Batwing.
Isn't that the name? Isn't that what Robin was when the cool Robin?
That's Nightwing.
Nightwing.
Yeah.
Nightwing.
Batwing had like a suit of armor that Batman made. They were doing a storyline called Batman Incorporated where Bruce Wayne came out publicly as Batman's financier, not as Batman, but then kind of just tried to expand the Batman concept into other regions outside of Gotham. So there was a bunch of like, I'm the Batman of L.A. or I'm the Batman of
And he
this.
had the Batman of China. Batwing ended up being in Africa fighting, like, apartheid or something.
Oh, that's right. But his identity was that. Remember Morgan Freeman in those Batman movies, Lucius Fox?
Yeah.
He was
And it's
Lucius
fun.
Fox's son. Was
Right, and
Batman.
so on the Batwoman show, they have Lucius Fox, and he's like this tech genius kid. But he's also supposedly Wayne Enterprises' accountant.
Oh, okay.
So it's weird. But
I don't know
No, the
nothing about
multiverse.
any of this.
the multiverse.
One day when we get through Marvel.
Hey, what
start talking about Batman.
would you guys like if they took? I don't know. What's the best current Batman movie? Like,
Probably The Dark Knight.
I was about to say Dark Knight Rises.
Of course, the Dark Knight Rises is amazing. Just for the,
You like the Bane one better than the Joker one?
I like them both. I would
I
love
like
them
them both, but there's something about the Bane one that I do.
I need to watch
Enjoy.
that again because
I
I
just
kept
like
getting
Bane.
thrown by the weird sound editing on Bane's voice. Because I saw it in the theater and it kept getting thrown by like something about the way they did his voice made it sound like there was some guy 3 rows behind me with a bullhorn saying all of his lines.
Well, I don't know. I like things that make me emotional. So outside of the normal Batman's parents dying emotion.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like Rising so much because, when they keep flashing back to her in that prison and trying to get out, like all of that for me was so. And then when you flip out and find out it wasn't Bane, the kid wasn't Bane, it was her.
you're like, spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry, Joe.
Spoilers.
You don't even know who her is. You're
Spoilers.
fine. You don't know who her is. You're fine.
I don't even know what you're talking about. But my question is, what if somebody took Dark Knight and then they inserted all the zap, boink, yeah
No, it would not work.
words and everything? Would it just ruin it?
No,
Yes.
but there are some fun things where they took, I think, the trailer, like the sound of the trailers for The Dark Knight, and then edited footage from the Adam West Batman and the Michael Keaton
Really?
Batman
I didn't
to
see
match the dialogue and music
The
of the
badassery
Yeah.
in a
But-
world, and it's Adam West and his
Yeah.
pants up to his nipples.
Yes. And those are kind of funny, like Cesar Romero doing all the Joker's lines and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
I had a feeling maybe you would know something goofy like that, or that somebody already did that, adding the zap in the box.
I'll show you. Remind me later, and I'll show you the videos for it.
Okay, well, this was already a good mixed random banter that has nothing to do with the MCU. You guys have such interesting, like, talking points on everything. Except me. Like, you guys can talk intelligently about any comic thing. Except me. I can't. But
you can.
Like, you guys have such knowledge. It's insane how much you guys know about everything. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how have you found the time to take in all this stuff? And what did I spend my time doing during all that?
I was about to say, what did you spend your time? I didn't spend any extra time taking it in. It was just a part of.
You drank a lot of beer. You went and drank a lot of beer while we were nerding up.
There you go. There you go. Andy knows. He knows you.
I do.
Part of my problem too is like I've seen those Batman movies, but there's something with my brain, and maybe it's back to that thing where I was talking about how I don't remember any of these movies. Like, these movies for me are an escape of like, hey, show me some explosions and fights, and I don't care what. I'm not like paying that much attention to it, I guess.
Right.
So now that I'm taking
you
notes,
don't look like you're not all about exposition. You just want to see explosions.
Because of
jumps,
that, I don't
chicks,
remember them, and they're like a new movie to me every time I watch them. Like every time I watch one, it's like, oh, I don't remember that. Maybe I'll remember one certain cool thing, but generally, it's like a brand new movie to me. Which it's been the advantage of being a dumb guy.
But that's also the cool thing is when you do rewatch it and you see things that you didn't notice. Like, I mean, I still I noticed stuff on this movie, Iron Man 2, that I hadn't noticed on one thing, but I've noticed something that the first few gazillion times that I watched it, I never paid any attention. And it was just going back trying to rewatch it to kind of not necessarily pick it apart, but like, analyze it for the podcast. It was like, oh, why didn't I see that? And not like, why didn't I even think about that until just now? So, I mean,
is there a sort of thing among nerds like a? I don't know. This would take a lot for you guys to admit this, I guess. But like, is there a thing where like, if you notice something like that you didn't notice before, do you like? Well, I'm gonna keep that to myself and pretend I always knew that. Like, is there things like that where you're like, oh, I just figured this out. I'm not gonna bring it up to my friends because I don't want to be made fun of as I'm not a true nerd. Like, you didn't know that, nerd? Like you're not a true.
There is. A segment of the nerd population that's very into gatekeeping, usually against women. Believing that since... Because, the stereotype of the nerd was, back in the day, that a lot of these old nerds grew up with, that women aren't into any of this stuff, and if they seem to be, they must be faking, and I must expose them and shun them and so there's a lot of like you get tested a lot. Like, let me see if you really know about botany.
Yes.
You have to prove how much you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I'm like, I was having a conversation with someone at the box office, and we talked about Star Wars, and then they were like, "Oh, well, I listened to this podcast. Let me ask you some questions. Can you just take my word that I watched all the damn movies repeatedly and have an opinion?" Like, I don't need to give, like, I'm not going to ask you to give me a dissertation on Britney Spears or Alanis Morissette and the juxtaposition of their music at the same time. Like, give me a break. It's fine. So for me personally, I don't mind if I find something I didn't see before and I know someone else is into it. I'll be like, yo, did you catch that? I did not catch it the first time. So I like having those conversations because I'm not nerd is not my leading personality trait.
That's why you're the secret nerd.
And you're the surprise nerd.
Someone I knew a long time ago sort of had the delineation between geeks, nerds, and dorks, where like a geek knows they're a geek and is totally cool with it and happy with it and flies their geek flag. Nerd knows they're a nerd, but is very uncomfortable and defensive about it. And then a dork has no idea he's a dork. So
I guess I'm a geek if we're going by those. I'm more
yeah,
of a geek.
I kind of like I like geek and nerd being interchangeable, but I also kind of like those definitions. Whereas the
Yeah.
the nerds.
Where did you see this?
I don't know. A friend of mine said this like a decade ago.
Oh, it's just a friend saying it. It's not like
Yeah.
a website or something.
No, it's not the Webster's official definitions of these words, but it's but it's sort of, it delineates like a flavor, like different flavors within nerds that you can get. You can get like the people that are just happy to be in it and happy to have everyone else in it, and anyone who they find who likes that stuff, they're really excited to get with them. And then there's the nerds who are super defensive because the only thing they had in their world is this retreat into this realm.
Yeah.
And
Nerddom.
if people that they are like, I don't know, if like they felt like women shunned them and they said, oh, it's because I'm into this and not because I'm an asshole. It's because I'm into this. So if they're pretending to like this thing, which is the reason they rejected me, I have to be against them and disprove them and not let them into this world, which is dumb.
But it's also, honestly, gentlemen, it's also white dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
there are a lot of, I've encountered a lot of dudes who are like, you know, and some of it is because I'm black and some of it is because I'm a black woman, but it is generalized that I guess we didn't have time to watch comics too. I don't know. I felt like I had time, but my oldest son is probably the nerd of the nerdist, and he's got time. So it's a weird thing that a certain subset of nerds, but most people don't care about those nerds. Like if I came across a nerd to the extreme who would be like, "Let me pop quiz you," I'd be like, "Boy, bye."
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
go on with
there's
my
a whole
business.
sort of movement, like a shitty movement in comics. It's called Comics Gate, where there's like a handful of really hard right-wing misogynist
Yup.
racist dickwads that are sort of, who view any character, like anything that's not geared towards them as, you know, like fake diversity or woke politics, anything that's not geared towards the straight white dude's gaze is political and therefore wrong.
Yes.
And they harass female comic creators of all sorts. They harass people all the time, and it's just really gross. And it's based like,
That seems to be like that's probably a reflection of society. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's how society is too. But I guess there's a part of me that would think that, like in the comic book world, like that doesn't seem like something that would be. But I guess that's everywhere. It's so infested.
yeah,
Right. If this is your subgroup and your subgroup has been predominantly white and male and similar, to acknowledge outside of that, because there is a rise in women comics, like, and it's beautiful. There's a new graphic novel. Well, it's a new novel, not graphic. It's a new novel based on a plus size superhero, and her name is Faith, and I got it on my list to read. But there was backlash against that because it's like, she can't be a superhero because she's plus size. Is this where we're going? Is this where you guys really want to go with this fight right now? Or can we just have, like, can people see themselves in comics, please? And you sit down, read the ones you read, and let everyone enjoy what they enjoy. But do not make it your mission to be so right. And it's not even right. To be so close-minded that you cannot accept the change.
And
Or
I
shift.
think like a big deal of their anger is probably based on the notion that they're trying to dial down the overt misogyny in a lot of female
Yep.
superhero outfits. Like Captain Marvel used to be Ms. Marvel and just flew around in basically a thong and thigh-high boots.
Right.
And they gave her like a new outfit where she's completely covered and she looks way more badass and cool. But like, nerds are like, I prefer this outfit where it's just basically a bathing
Well,
suit. flying around
they
in
also
the
kind of
sand.
did that with Wonder Woman a few years ago, where they took her out of her little leotard, unitard, or whatever. But I think they put her back in it, which was weird. But like,
yeah, because DC Comics had some issues in
Yeah.
upper management as far as that sort of goes. But yeah, they tried to put pants on Wonder Woman for a while, and like nerds got all upset about it. Like, oh, it's an iconic outfit. Come on, you can
Or it's
you
a
can
short
have pants.
skirt. Yeah, dude, chill out. I can see you from a mile away. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's like when they build all these characters in anime games where the boobs are like large and bouncing all the time, and they're like, "Oh, it's just a part of the character build." Really?
and you know what's weird as a male, like especially when we deal with anime, like that is hard to get into. And it's one of the things people say, well, it's hard to get into. Why? Because you can't see past the boobage and all. I'm like, nah, it just makes it seem more like it's one is over exaggerated, but it takes away from actually what's going on. It's like,
yeah,
there's this one I just started watching. It's called darn it, it's like right on the tip of my tongue, but like pretty much it's like 5 characters. It's four ladies. I was about to call them chicks. Notice I said ladies. 4 ladies and a guy, and they're like these demons who feed off of kids' sexual emotions or whatever. And like the one character, you know, she shut hers off, and like there's the one scene where she goes to trip on the steps, and like the guy who was her best friend growing up, he goes to try to save her. He, you know, reaches out for her and he grabs her. And once he grabs her, all of a sudden her chest has grown at least 5 sizes from what it actually was. And I'm like, why do we need that? There's another one where like it's about zombies, where like you see like zombies chasing like these, you know, schoolgirls and schoolboys or whatever. And then when they get to the girls, it's like it does the Megan Fox Transformers thing, except but also like the camera angle. Like this is an anime. The camera angle focuses on it, and it's not even like it's hentai. It's just straight, just regular anime. And it's like, what purpose does it serve in this thing about zombies? You know,
if
like
you go too far into anime, it becomes this absolute nightmare.
It is.
And I mean, there's some really good anime films. I mean, they've remade some into popular movies and whitewashed the actors.
Oh yeah, totally.
But stuff like that. But there's some really interesting stuff, and there's a lot of interesting dynamic animation in anime. But you go too far, there's stuff you can't unsee.
Another one of those that like weird nerd subculture thing where they go at it is like dub versus sub. Like you have people arguing over like whether or not you should watch anime with the original Japanese language or whether you should watch it in with the dub. And then it's like, well, if you do the dub, it's because they're giving like some like you say the Asian kid will be some lily white boy or some lily white girl, or not even just the wrong person playing a role instead of actually trying to look for voice actors who are.
Shit.
We're like going into like.
Yeah, that's. I mean, this is crazy. Way off Iron Man too. But this is also like stuff I would have never once ever thought about in my life. Like
the underbelly of nerddom.
Yeah. I mean, like totally. Yeah, I mean that's. Sheesh, that's we got a long way to go. All right, so let's get back.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we get back to Iron Man?
This is what I would. This is what I would do right now in this moment, because this is probably about 20 minutes or so. What I would do is we should like just stop our recording here and then restart it. That way we can take like this section could be like Tiffany said, like a one-off.
Art is right. We're going to end this episode right here, and this will be a special one-off episode about the underbelly of nerddom, as TBJ called it. And we'll be back soon to finish Iron Man 2. And we will probably be back even before that with another WandaVision episode, because WandaVision is going crazy right now. So thank you for listening, Nerd School friends. We'll be back. Please subscribe and rate, review, tell your friends.
Oh, my glasses are broken. My pocket is protected. Okay.
rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end in racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits, so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.